Honestly, bro, when RJ Barrett made this three to beat my Celtics, I was actually laughing a bit. Not out of happiness, of course not, but just out of you have to be actually kidding me at this point. This team is cursed. I'm sure there were Evan Fournier threes and all that, but the Celtics' offensive rating in the fourth quarter was 100, which would be last in the league if you did it for a whole season. The thing is, though, is that Jason Tatum made a lot of good plays. You got Marcus Smart, two straight open shots there. It's an ISO on Evan Fournier. This was like one of the few shots from Tatum you don't super love. Should also be said, spacing, not exactly good. I mean, Obi Toppin doesn't care about Horford. Time Lord, he's mucking up the paint. Even so, not the best shot. But still, a lot of the time, Tatum did make the right play. Time Lord screen, Gibson and RJ are on him. Pass to Jalen in the corner. That's a shot you like. I still wish Jalen was touching the ball a little more often in fourth quarters. There's another one. They commit two to Tatum, makes the right pass to Smart. Unfortunately, it is still Marcus Smart, and you don't want that to be the only other shot you're getting. And, well, this is one of the problems with the Celtics. I mean, you've got Jason Tatum in an ISO. It's Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Dennis Schroeder. Even if you replace one of these guys with Jalen, there's still a lot of dudes that the defense just doesn't have to cover like that. This is a classic example. Just throw two to Tatum and just take your chances with an okay closeout on Marcus Smart. The other thing that happens with the Celtics offense a lot in the fourth, look at this, 8 seconds left on the shot clock, and pretty much nothing has happened. They usually walk the ball up. They try to do one handoff or screen action. It doesn't work. There's no off-ball movement, and so it becomes, all right, we got to try to figure something out, and that's just not a winning formula. However, if this is a sign that Tatum is just going to go supernova the rest of the way, then that's a good sign. I do like him setting a screen here before you get him into the ISO post-up thing on Fournier. 11 seconds left on the clock, nothing's happening. Jalen's in the corner, you're not using him at all. Tatum has to do what he's going to do, and sure, defense is going to leave Schroeder open. They're also going to leave Smart open. You're just not going to win. And for the Knicks, I mean, Evan Fournier, I don't get it, man. You come to Boston, you score 0 points in your first game, then you test positive, the whole thing is underwhelming, some of it not your fault, sure. And now every time you play the Celtics, you absolutely torch them. Anyway, let's check out Kyrie's return. So of course you had plays like this one, where nothing was really going on, and then he just creates something out of nothing and bails you out of a possession. And then you had little plays like this one that I thought were cool, so they bring two to KD. DeAndre Bembry was making a lot of plays on the short roll in this game, whether it's him scoring or making a play for somebody else. And this is just so damn hard to defend. I mean, you got to bring somebody to Patty Mills. Then it's Kyrie. And it's like, if that's Joe Harris, that closeout might be enough to where you kind of overwhelm him, or he'll take the shot, but you might get an okay contest. But because it's Kyrie, it's a pump fake, and then it's a pull-up two. This formation was also something, because there's no center, which means they're able to go 5 out. Now, DeAndre Bembry would be the one guy you would leave open, and if we let it play, the rotation off of him is non-existent, so that's a problem. But it's like, if you're already willing to go no center, you could put Joe Harris here when he's eventually back, and it's like, who the hell are you going to help off of? Now, obviously, the idea is, well, you get it back on the other end, but offensively speaking, it's like, man, now if they do want size, you can put Aldridge right here, or Blake if his three-pointer gets back to the best that we've seen it over the past couple of seasons. Is it still a little alarming that Kevin Durant had to play so many minutes? A little bit. Here's a nice little play for you, besides just the big three being really good. So Sabonis is ignoring Bembry. Kyrie screens for Kevin Durant. That's fun, Kyrie setting a screen. And to give a shout out to possible role player all-star Bembry, make a play off the dribble. This one's my favorite from Bembry. So this is kind of a screen for Kevin Durant. It's a whole mess of guys with him and Patty Mills. But anyway, Pacers bring two. Bembry's in the right spot. You've also got Patty Mills going baseline, so that option was there. And he gets himself a layup. Any sort of extra offense for the Nets besides just KD, Harden, and Kyrie ISOs or pick and rolls is nice to see. The crazy thing with this team, too, is while we can appreciate these plays, I don't even know if these plays are necessary. Updated MVP ladder, Giannis, KD, Jokic, Embiid, Steph. Yeah, Steph had like 2 really rough games recently, and then he didn't play in the last one. The wild thing for me is Embiid. Ever since I did the video, the 76ers are not good. They have not lost a game. But you know what's going to happen after this video for the Celtics? They're going to lose again. Steph Curry saves an old lady from getting hit by a basketball in the head. Now this is what I'm talking about. Let's see this. Uh-oh. Heads up move from Steph. Now let's talk about the Kawhi news. So there's a decent chance that he is going to be playing this season now. They said he was ahead of schedule. And the hope for the Clippers is that you're not in the play-in tournaments. They're in there with like 5 other teams. It's like a 4.5 game difference between them all. Decent chance they will be in the play-in, but you don't know. And you'd think if Kawhi can come back with, 15, 20 games left in the season maybe, that could be enough for him to get some momentum going. And if that's the case, if Kawhi can get back to being Kawhi, I feel like it doesn't matter what their seeding is, they're immediately a force in the West. I mean, once they went to that small lineup, Dallas didn't have many answers for them. And, Utah made it an interesting series, and they also had some injuries and stuff, but they beat him without Kawhi. We know this. And the Sun series was still relatively competitive. So with Kawhi, decent chance they would have went all the way. I think the question leading up to this is, will they make any sort of a move? Do they have the assets to make a move? I think they could use some more juice on offense. I believe the rule is that you are allowed to trade a pick within 7 years into the future, which means they actually can move a pick. It's like at the end of this decade, but they can do it if they want to get that super desperate. And if they're willing to do that, it opens up some more possibilities. Like you could attach a first to Eric Bledsoe, who is effectively an expiring because the last year of his contract is non-guaranteed. Whether a team would like to wait that long to get that extra pick, I don't know. The best example of that for the Clippers would be Eric Gordon, who has been way better this season than the past couple, also way healthier. Another one could be Dragic, although he's on a 1 year, so you'd then have to think about extending him, and maybe that wouldn't be that expensive, and I would have to assume that if Dragic is relatively healthy, he'd be better than Bledsoe. But there's not a guarantee that you have the best offer for those types of guys. And again, I don't know if it makes a lot of sense to trade a first-round pick that is like 7 years from now, but that's the only way they could do it, really. The other possibility is if they want to put together some like Serge Ibaka, who's on an expiring, Justin Winslow, maybe a Keon Johnson, who's a 19-year-old, something like that, you could get to maybe like $15 or $16 million. I suppose it's possible that some of the Clippers' super young dudes could effectively be first-round picks for other teams, but there's a chance you just want to hang on to him. Like Brandon Boston Jr., he's had a couple of big scoring games. Of course, one of them had to come against the Celtics, because why not? Like I mentioned Keon Johnson, there's also Jason Preston, although he had foot surgery, so that might hurt his stock in a trade. There's a lot of crazy possibilities with the Clippers. For one, we could get Clippers Jazz round 1. If the Clippers got to the 6th seed and the Jazz held firm at number 3, which no guarantee either way there, but getting to see the small ball Clippers versus the Jazz in round 1, that would certainly be fun. Although it's not a guarantee they would go small as much as they did in last season's playoffs. There's also a chance we get Clippers Lakers in the play-in. I don't know how likely that is, but it's a possibility. Clippers Nuggets, Clippers Mavs are play-in possibilities as well.